Hi, Natalie. How are you?
Hello, Rosina. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time all the way from sunny Brazil today.
Sunny Brazil. Not today, though. Not today,
No,
but
not the best
usually.
weather. Well, thank you for joining. So, for those of you listening, I know Natalie because her mother was my French teacher, one of the most amazing women that I know. And we've just reconnected thanks to social media. And her story, the way she carries herself, the things that she does on a daily basis, and her love for God is something so inspiring and I feel is so necessary. And I can't wait to talk. So, Natalie, just let our audience know what it is that you do.
Um,
Everything.
in a nutshell, what I do today, I am a full-time mom. I am a therapist. I'm a music therapist. I'm a cognitive behavioral therapist. I'm a teacher, French, Portuguese, English, and piano.
Hmm.
And I'm a mentor for women for emotional intelligence.
Beautiful. Now, I have some wonderful questions for you. So we're going to dig right into it. Now, tell me a little bit about your journey as a woman. How has it shaped the way that you view love? And that really is the topic today is love.
Yeah. Rosina, we think about this all the time, right? Us as women, what we go through every day is how much importance we want to give to things.
Hmm.
So when we look at our journey of life, we always try to have some love. There's some moments in our life where we don't know what it is. There's some moments in our lives where we think we know what it is. We look for it, we search for it. Some moments in our life we're desperate for it. And hopefully, some moments in our life we realize where to find it and how to find it and how to deal with love.
How would you
So my
say, yeah, I'll say, how would you say that has shaped you over the years?
so I motherhood
Mm,
has shaped me a great deal in relations to love. And when I say love, I mean the general definition of love, you know, not relationship love or not passion, not dedication, just how we deal with this whole love thing. So for me, if there's one instance in my life where really I have opened up my mind and my eyes about love, I would have to say motherhood.
And when you were younger, how do you think love looked like to you?
Yeah, we all have our traumas, right, Rosina? And based on how we feel during our childhood, kind of predetermines what we think love is
Hmm.
and what we think is normal and what we end up accepting, and it stays in our subconscious. And some people go an entire life without really distinguishing, you know, what really we should be feeling and how it brings peace to us. A few years ago, I did a live, about love, and there's so many different definitions, you know, about what we think love is. And I'll tell you what. Um, the best way I think to understand what love is to kind of live backwards. I wish that when we were children, somebody would be like, okay, this is what you need to strive for. So let's raise you with that intention, instead of being guinea pigs to parents that maybe don't have that kind of upbringing or that kind
Right.
of, pamphlet of a book where, okay, this is how I have to raise my kids. So when they're older, they're not traumatized through love.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's a work in process every day, and to be honest with you, love takes up different shapes and forms every day.
Absolutely. And I know, you love to talk about emotional intelligence. And can you touch base a little bit on that and how it has to correlate with love? And even if there were, children with traumatic childhoods and maybe just unhealthy forms of love, when does someone understand that emotional intelligence and start tapping into it to be able to
Yeah,
heal from within?
yeah. Um, Emotional intelligence will always help us deal with ourselves first. A lot of people think that, oh, I have emotional intelligence, so now I know how to deal with others. And it's the contrary. I think that emotional intelligence starts with you learning about you dealing with you understanding you, and then naturally the outside world falls into place. So emotional intelligence is not learning how to deal with others, but it's learning how to deal with you, determining maybe your values, what you expect from yourself,
Mhm.
your boundaries, because you understand you. And so I know it's easier said than done, but once you understand you, when there are negative things from the outside, it doesn't even affect you because it doesn't match with you,
Yeah.
because you have a strong emotional intelligence and you say, okay, well, this is not something that fits me. So,
Well, this is a perfect question to gear into this. We talk also a lot about self love as women, right? And how we should self love, love ourselves and do all these things. In this season of your life, particularly, how does self love look like for you?
oh, self love. So, a lot of people think that self love is going to get our Botox and our hair done. It is self love, it is a lot of self love. But I think today, and I wish I knew this years ago, uh, self-love is having compassion for yourself.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest sign of self-love, compassion and empathy, you know? Empathy is a very difficult thing, and nowadays people don't, the world is becoming very individualistic. Everybody's just so no responsibility with other people's emotions, you know, no responsibility for anything. So the second you start having compassion for yourself and understanding your journey and your falls and your success, you're loving yourself.
Yeah. What could you say to somebody who is having a hard time loving themselves, trying to give themselves that compassion, but perhaps they were raised with incredibly high, unrealistic expectations and pressure from parents that didn't know any better, but still love them, what kind of advice would you give someone going through that?
I'm going to give the advice that I do with myself every day, because we all have that inner child, that broken inner child.
Hmm.
We all do. And I have a picture of myself as a little girl. And you need to treat yourself. I know it's difficult, but step away from that and see yourself like a helicopter ride, and you just see, like, as a third person, you as a child and everything you lived. And if you were a neighbor watching that, what would be your first instinct? That you would walk in that house and sit with that child, which is you, and what would you tell that child? As a third person, as an outsider,
Right.
not you as a victim, not you as the hurt, not you as an adult. Now, no. What if you were to witness that child, and everything that that is bothering that child and whatnot? What would you tell? What would you say? Would you hold? Would you hug? Would you comfort? You know? And I think that's a big first step on caring for yourself and saying,
Yeah.
it's me. So hug yourself. you
I
know?
think too, perhaps it's very easy for women who are hyper independent to also like grasp that, right? Because then there's a lot of guilt when trying to have that compassion towards
Yeah,
oneself and the whole like, well, no, I need to be strong and this is not, I can't allow myself to be like this.
yeah,
But I think it is beautiful to be able to, you have to look at that little girl and how would you speak to her?
yeah. It's tough, right?
Yeah.
It's hard, and I think that there's a lot of the human brain has a huge capacity to do so much, but we just a little scared, and it is scary. It is so scary. And, uh, and it just takes a little bit of courage, and what helps is the whole, meditation to stop in
Mm-hmm.
time, and
Mm-hmm.
that whole mindfulness, hype, it's real,
It's so hard
and
though. It is so
it's so
hard.
hard,
I feel
I
like I'll try to
know.
sit in my room just to pray or meditate, and then all my thoughts just and not just my thoughts, my fears, my past will kind of creep in, and it's like I'm trying to
Yeah,
do something with my mind and my time, and I read somewhere like the mind is a battlefield, and if you don't have control of it, you
yeah,
can spiral quickly.
yeah, 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 but that's when the compassion comes in.
Right.
It's okay. I'm not thinking about what I'm supposed to think. Come back, focus back.
Yeah.
It's okay. And not get so angry and frustrated,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And 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 understand yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even during those prayer moments, even though, even when we pray, our mind escapes,
Mhm.
you know? And that's the moment where we need the compassion for ourselves. It's okay. The same way you would do for a little girl that
A
you're trying
little
to teach
girl,
something to
your
her.
best friend, yeah, anyone that you love. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're
Yeah.
like, wait, come back. I'm teaching you something. Focus,
Right. Right.
same way with
Yeah.
yourself.
Now I know after a heartbreak, after any sort of, relationship that ends the way that it ends, that does something to our hearts, our mind. So I want to ask, what has helped you emotionally after a difficult breakup? And I know there was a season that you were just in with incredible pain, which you
Yeah.
did not deserve. You do not deserve at all.
No.
Does everyone see how beautiful she is? I'm telling you, some of these men sometimes fumble so well. Like, why would you lose someone like this? It just makes no
Yeah.
sense. No sense.
You
But
know, Rosina, you're far too kind, and I do think that none of us really deserve, you know, to be victims of people that are not ready to be emotionally involved.
mhm,
You know,
I agree.
and I hate to say to women, pack up, put on your soldier equipment on when you're gonna go loving somebody because you're gonna fall and you need that shield and you need that,
Yeah.
you know. But then we take a little step further and we realize that faith, faith is our biggest strength.
Yeah.
Faith is faith is a lifesaver, because you end up not taking anything so personally anymore.
Mhm.
So into that equation, we put in, the self-compassion, self-love, and God and faith. And then it's a daily work. You say, I was hurt, but what does that say a lot about me, or does that say a lot about who is acting like that?
Absolutely.
You know?
I I sometimes don't know how people can get through any sort of heartache, a heartbreak, since we're on the topic of love,
Yeah,
without God in their corner. Because I
yeah,
know personally for me, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have him by my side. And the days
yeah,
where I was like, you know what, Lord, I have faith, but not a lot. It's like I have it. I've got you. It's okay.
yeah,
I just need you to come as you are with your pain and suffering. And that's one thing is I think a lot of people view God as he's just the punisher and the corrector, right? This almighty, powerful God. And he's just a
No.
father that wants to comfort you. And he
Yeah.
suffers when you suffer. And
Yeah.
one thing that I think I learned personally from my heartbreak was that he will not let this pain go to waste, especially the pain of someone who was not ready to, love you and invite you into that. He's not going to let that go to waste. It's going to make us stronger. It's going to make us wiser. It's going to make
Yeah.
us women that he intends us to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah. And you know what, Rosina? You you just trust.
Yeah,
You trust the process. You trust that, it's so cliche to say, "Oh, everything happens for a reason." It does.
it does.
It really does. It's
It really
so
does.
cliche,
Yes.
and you need to fall sometimes.
And sometimes
You
stay there
need.
a little bit. You don't have to pick
It's
yourself
okay.
right up.
It's
There's
okay.
seasons of being in that
Yeah.
valley.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you continue with that compassion and you let yourself feel the pain and
Yeah.
heal just like a skin, heals and it heals
Mhm.
thicker.
What I think a lot of people do, is try to run to a distraction after a breakup because the pain
Yeah.
is so intense.
Yeah.
I personally think that that is unhealthy. I think, like you said, you have
Yeah.
to feel the pain. You need to suffer through it to be able to understand more about yourself, how
Yeah.
you react in situations like
Yeah.
that, how you can grow. But I think it's very sad in the world that we live in. It's almost like promotes this just numbing. It's like the world and society doesn't want you to feel anymore. You're hurt, you're
Yeah.
this, numb it with that or this
Yeah.
individual or buy that or
Yeah.
be addicted to this. It's very, very sad and it's very scary that even just being emotionally intelligent or self aware scares people because of that, because it causes us to feel.
Yeah.
Now, what advice would you give a woman who feels like heartbreak has made her question her identity, her worth, her value?
Yeah. I'm gonna go back one thought that you just said about
Mhm.
running to. I need to think about something else and I need to run away from this sad feeling and a lot of people go straight back to the dating life and go out and
Mhm.
try to fulfill that gap and that emptiness. It's normal. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
But I think the rehab moment is necessary.
Yeah.
It's rehab.
Yep.
Just like any other fall requires some kind of rehab.
And any fall, you're bound to make mistakes, right? I think when you're in that rehab, you have to give yourself the compassion, the grace to be like, I'm doing the best that I can in the
Yeah.
situation that I've been given, and a mistake or two might be made. And it's
Yeah.
understanding and holding yourself to that standard or
Yeah.
expectation for,
Yeah.
your loved ones, your daughter, who yourself.
Yeah.
But it's not easy.
No,
That's
it's not.
that's for sure. It's not easy. And definitely, again, just tying into that self value and worth. I know for me
Yeah.
personally, when I was cheated on, the moment that I found out, I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like the
Yeah.
love that I was trying to give wasn't enough for somebody. I
Yeah.
felt worthless and I felt like then no one else would. I felt like
Yeah.
trash, like little pieces that was just dumped
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
just put
I'm
fire
not
over
good
it.
enough. Right.
No,
Right.
no.
Right.
What advice do you
You
give to
know,
anyone?
um, I may sound repetitive, but it's the whole emotional intelligence that
Yep.
needs to come in at that moment when you have the self-awareness, the self-regulation, and the self-motivation to think and feel absolutely anything that you want.
Mhm.
I mix a lot of religion and um, vibrational field that surrounds you, which God created,
Mhm.
and He regulates for me personally.
Mhm.
But you need to call upon that. And when you don't believe in it, when you feel like you're at the last string and there's no light at the end of the tunnel, you need to pretend that it's not the end. You need to lie to yourself. You need to pretend. You need to just repeatedly
Yeah.
set yourself like that inertia of everything's going to be okay. And I know it's difficult, you know. And personally for me at that moment, we've all been through it. I've been through it, you know. I go through it and I feel like the only thing that keeps me up is knowing that I'm not alone. And I was a victim of somebody who God wouldn't agree with that kind
Right.
of behavior,
Mhm.
you know? So I find myself a lot of times imagining Jesus next to me, going through that pain. And what would Jesus do? You know, a few years ago, you I don't know if you were even born during that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
WWJ, you know? What would Jesus do? Everybody was wearing
I
the
remember,
bracelets,
yes.
you know, and that stuck with me because I'm like, okay, wait a second. I just got cheated on. This person did not have one drop of emotional responsibility for me. I'm a child of God. So is he. As what our father, if he was here, what would he do? Would he punish me or give a lecture to him? You know, and that has helped me a lot because then again, you put yourself in in a third person, a perspective, and you look at the situation. You're like, wait a second, I didn't do anything. This has nothing to do with me,
No. No.
you know. And if you did something that you wouldn't be, nobody deserves any of that. But if you feel like, you know what, I could have done better as a person in this relationship, great. You take what's best. You take your
Mhm.
lessons learned, your red
Mhm.
flags alert that you maybe didn't catch on at the right time,
Mhm.
and you give yourself a nice pat in the back and you thank the Lord for that situation
Yeah.
because He will never put something in our path that we can't handle.
And that rejection, that hurt is really just God protecting you
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. He took away that person from your life,
Yeah.
you know, and you may not notice it now. You may not notice it next week, and maybe not next month or next year, but at the end of the road, you're going to say,
You'll
oh
be
my God, I'm
so
so glad.
grateful.
I'm
You'll
so
be so
glad.
happy, and then, God willing, you meet another man
Yeah.
who is a good man, and you're like, "Well, this makes it all worth it, if anything."
Yeah.
And not
Yeah.
only is God good, then he's gonna be 10 times hotter, 10 times
Yeah.
more
No, God knows.
intelligent. God's like,
Yeah.
"I got you. I got you, don't
Yeah.
worry. You went through
It's
a
all
lot."
upgrade. Yeah. It's like changing
That's it.
phones.
Yes.
You know, you're never
Yes.
gonna give up your iPhone 14 to get a 4.
No, no,
You
no
always
downgrades
move
here.
up.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I feel like
Um,
that's the faith and that's the
yeah,
self-compassion.
yeah.
You need to know what you deserve, you know, and you need to use, and I always use this analogy, you're baking a cake and imagine that the cake is that amazing person that deserves you. In order to bake that amazing cake, oh, this is perfect for you because you are the best, you know, baker. What
I'm
do?
not.
You need to use good ingredients. If not,
Yes.
you're not going to get a good result.
Mhm.
So you're going to always find the best ingredients, and those ingredients are you.
Yep.
So you're always striving for the best for you because because you're the cake too, you
Mhm.
know, and they're the cake, everybody. So you need good ingredients. You're going to focus on you and you're going to self love. You're going to take care of yourself. You're going to allow yourself to fall. You're going to allow yourself to rise. You're going to put yourself in that cocoon. You're going to stay there and know that you need it without being afraid of being alone because
Mhm.
you're never really alone. He's always here with us.
Amen. And I think that's something too. I mean, loneliness is just hard for people. I mean, as humans, God created us to connect with one another, and no one wants to be lonely, especially when they're in the
Yeah,
depths of that pain and suffering.
yeah,
Um, How has your relationship with God helped you through those seasons of loneliness?
I I used to be very afraid of being alone. I always needed something, to do. Living in Miami for 20 years
Mhm.
during my, you know, teenage and early adulthood, there's always something to do,
Yeah.
you know? You go out and you have a happy hour, and then you go to dinner, and then you have a party, and then you have rooftop, and then you have sunrise party and sunset party. And it's so easy to not stay home. And God forces us to stay home
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yep.
And I truly believe, Rosina, that things happen in our lives when you really don't read the signs. Well, they slam in your face if you really continue to ignore them.
Mhm. He'll get your
And
attention.
you
He will.
if he wants something in your life, he's gonna make it happen.
Yes.
And if you are that stubborn child, he will take you and he will take care of you in particular, but you will learn. You
Yes.
know, I was
Yeah.
diagnosed with ulcerative colitis
Wow.
at a very important moment of my life when I was writing my thesis during my grad school. And and it was maybe actually the best thing that ever happened to me,
Wow.
because it's something that is caused by stress. Sometimes, my mother was diagnosed with that too when she was going through the same moment of her life when she was my age,
Mhm.
coincidentally. And I feel like um it comes and goes. Sometimes I go 3 years without a crisis, sometimes I go 2 years without a crisis, but those moments have taught me since the beginning to go into that cocoon and
Yeah.
just stay home,
Well, because some
whether
things
you
are
want
just
it or
not
not.
worth it.
Yeah, yeah. And
Simple
and
as
you
that.
need to learn how to be alone. You need to learn.
Yes.
You need to love your own company. I
Yes.
think that's probably one of the most important lessons that I have learned ever. You know, and I have realized that when you're alone, you're faced with your demons, not to use a wrong word or anything speaking about God, but
Mm.
it's true.
Mhm.
You know, you're forced to stay in silence and hear yourself
Yeah.
and listen to yourself, you know? And I was talking to a friend about this yesterday who loves to go out and asked me, Nat, you haven't gone out in a really long time. And I explained it to her. I said, I need to be alone. It's how I
Mhm.
refuel
Yep.
myself.
Yeah. Re-energize,
You
recenter
reconnect.
yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No,
and
I
and when you're not ready, you're exchanging energy with an outside world, with people that don't deserve it, people that are going through their own, and you just are exchanging. You're not protected well enough not to let things affect you. So when you feel like you need that time, take it.
Mhm.
As much as it sounds like it's hard, and you need time alone, because you're not really alone. God is there and you'll
No.
hear him.
Yeah.
And that's when you start talking to him.
Yeah.
That's when you're not going to start talking to him when there's so many things around you.
Mm-mm. No.
That's the power of prayer. That's the power of meditation, and the power of just saying, no, today I'm staying alone.
Yep. Yeah. I think too it's, when everything's fine and dandy in life and everything's going well, who needs God?
Yeah.
Who needs God?
Yeah.
So, it's the reminders that we need to come back to him. At the end of the day, we're not living for ourselves. We're living for something much greater than ourselves.
Yeah.
And we need to be our own best friend because we can be our own worst critics, own worst
Yeah.
enemies. And it's sad,
Exactly.
but I do think the enemy uses that against us. I feel
Oh,
like
for sure.
sometimes he knows us better than we know ourselves. He knows what's going to make us tick. He knows our deepest insecurities. And if we're not grounded, if we're not centered, he's going to want
You
to
lose
sway
it.
us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now what kind of to go into it, what kind of things do you do? What practices, anything in your routine that helps you stay grounded on a daily basis, especially when life just
Yeah.
feels chaotic and overwhelming?
Yeah. Um, it changes around a lot, sometimes I find things that work for me, and 2 months later, let's call it evolve
Mhm.
or
As
take a
you do
break
every day, yeah.
every day. And, I don't have a routine per se, Rosina, because I feel like routines are forced.
Mhm.
Routines are like predetermined things that you have to do, and I don't like to have routines, although I'm a mom and a professional, so I need some kind of routine. But I prefer to call it a ritual. My rituals.
Something sacred.
Yeah, and what makes you feel good.
Mhm.
And as much as I can share my own personal rituals, and I will because um, I want to help as many people as possible
Mhm.
to have one little routine a ritual that works for them. But at the end of the day, I feel like we need to do things that make us feel good because when you feel good, you you really find out what love is.
Yeah.
That's what I have learned with time. I do things that
Mm.
bring me pleasure, that give me peace. And when I feel that peace, it's like you start seeing things with totally different vision, you know?
Absolutely.
So I
Yeah.
feel like when you do things with intention, and that has been my keyword, you know, of the year. I know we're still in March, but I have been using intent because
It
when you
has
do
been
things
mine
with
too.
intention,
Yeah.
when you do things with intention, you
Yes.
feel it down to the core
Yeah, and it's
of what
beautiful.
of what truly needs to be done for you to be a good person.
Yeah, it is something spiritual that does awaken within you for sure when you
Yeah.
take, that time to pour into yourself so you can then pour into others,
Yeah,
which is so
exactly.
important, so important. I mean, honestly, I'm just so grateful that you were able to come on. We've talked about this for a while and we finally made it happen. And your
Yeah.
insight, you have so much passion for love and for the way that you live your life. You set an amazing example for your daughter. And if no one's told you that, may I be one to remind you that you
Oh,
absolutely
thank you.
do. Now, talking about our little inner child, just to close it off, what letter, what note, what little words of advice or loving, kind thoughts would you tell her today after everything that you've been through in life and having a daughter of your own?
Well, as crazy as this may sound, it has everything to do with the ritual we were talking about now.
Okay.
So what I tell myself now as my rituals in the morning, right before you actually become conscious of, okay, I'm awake, right before I wake up, as I'm waking up, I repeat to myself and to my inner self, inner child self, just positive, positive, positive words. Be nice to yourself.
Mhm.
So how my day is going to be the same way I would tell a little child, and the same way I have raised my daughter, every day as I'm waking her up. Today's going to be an amazing day. You're strong, you're loved, you're blessed,
Yeah.
you're worthy, you know and that's exactly what I tell myself upon awakening, just to exactly the same thing we were talking about, making yourself believe that and feel that and vibrate that,
Mhm.
because it can't go wrong. If you're waking up blessed and grateful, there's absolutely no way you're going
Grateful.
to spend
Yeah.
your day sending hate and
No.
destructive vibes
No.
to others because you want to spare yourself, you know? So as you spare yourself, you're naturally, you know, sending positive things all around.
Yeah.
So to that little girl, little Natalie from all the way in the past, little Alice, my daughter, or big mom Natalie. Now it's all the same. I feel, uh, do things with intention, love yourself, be grateful that God is giving you a deep breath when you get up and you're not depending on a tube. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's all you don't have to go very far
Yeah.
to really learn how to be grateful, you know?
Mhm.
And I know it might sound a little too intense, but sometimes, my daughter now she's used to hearing things raw, the way life is. Um and my intention is for her to grow up and know her little Alice inside so well that she will not need to come back 40 years back and take care of herself now, because I'm teaching her how to take care of her
Amen.
now.
Right.
And it's love, just love.
Yeah.
And you start inside. Love yourself with intention. Be grateful that you're not waking up in a hospital today. That's
No.
it. That makes
Yeah.
your day already.
You're healthy, you're good.
And
Yeah.
again, it sounds so cliche, all be grateful for my health,
No,
but
it's
are you breathing through a tube? There's
it's
so many
true.
mothers waking up in the morning, you know, whether they're, already in the hospital, they're slept in the hospital because their child is there, or they have to go now, or God is giving you a chance, grasp
Yeah.
it,
Yeah. And we
and
are not
don't let
guaranteed
yourself fall.
tomorrow.
No, no, no. But he will not take it away, take your life away unless he has better plans.
Yeah.
So that also makes you, accept things as they are, but not live in fear,
Mhm.
and have your rituals, things that make you feel good, and just talk sweet to yourself.
Yeah.
The
Well,
same way you would want somebody to talk to you when you were little.
Nathalie, thank you so, so much. Obrigada.
De
Merci beaucoup,
nada.
ma belle.
C'est mon plaisir, un plaisir à
Thank you.
moi.
Thank you. It's been so enriching to be able to hear you. And it's honestly the way that you live your life. Again, I commend you. You're very inspiring. And I'm just so grateful that we cross paths out of all the people in this world, right? God puts people in your life for a reason.
Yeah,
And I'm just very,
no
very
doubt.
grateful. And I hope we can connect again. I would love to have you back on.
I would love to
And
be back on.
I hope if I'm ever in Brazil, I'll just call you.
Please come and visit.
I need
Please
to. It's
come.
on my bucket list. I need to visit Brazil. So
There
I'll
are
let
a
you
lot
know.
of more beautiful places in Europe that I would love to go with you instead of
Allez,
here,
vas-y.
but
Let's go.
yeah, I know.
Let's go. Weren't you just in France?
Yes, I just came back a couple weeks ago.
Oh, nice. Did
I
you have a good
know.
time?
I did. It was quick,
Good.
but it was fun.
Good, good, good. Well, welcome back home. And I wish you, we're in March, so an amazing year up ahead, and we'll stay connected for sure. But thank you so much for pouring your heart out into this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Of
you for
course.
having me and sharing things, and we're all carrying our crosses,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So, some of us study that topic a little bit more than others, and we do it to be able to help, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but just being able to cure others and being able to cure yourself, I think it's a calling, if whoever's listening, if you feel like you find ways to help yourself go through things, then you probably have that light to enlighten others too. So
Absolutely.
nothing's in vain.
And we need it. We need to share that.
Yeah,
We need to share that light.
we do.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect.